Let's be honest, the reason you're watching this isn't because you want tricks. It's because there's a woman somewhere in your life who doesn't think about you the way you think about her, and that quiet rejection is eating at you. The unread messages, the delayed replies, the way her energy feels warm one day and ice cold the next. And I need you to hear this clearly, even if it makes you uncomfortable. The moment you try to make a woman miss you by chasing her attention, you guarantee she never will. I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to tell you the truth most men never hear. Women don't miss presence. They miss impact. They don't ache for availability. They ache for meaning. And right now, if she's not interested, it's not because you're invisible. It's because your presence has become predictable, emotionally cheap, and easy to ignore. Here's the part nobody says out loud. A woman starts missing a man the moment her nervous system notices his absence created a change. Not panic, not desperation, a shift. Silence that feels heavier than noise, space that feels louder than words. And that never happens when a man is constantly explaining himself, proving himself, or waiting for permission to be wanted. Think about this slowly. When you are always there, you give her certainty without desire. When you are always agreeable, you remove tension. When you over-communicate feelings too early, you remove mystery. And without tension, mystery, and emotional contrast, the female mind doesn't attach. It drifts. I want you to understand female psychology at a deeper level than dating advice ever goes. Attraction isn't logical. It's emotional pattern recognition. A woman subconsciously asks herself one question: how does this man make me feel when he's not around? If the answer is neutral, comfortable, or forgettable, she doesn't miss you. If the answer is unsettled, curious, reflective, she does. And here's the painful truth most men resist. You cannot talk your way into being missed. You cannot text your way into importance. You cannot be more available and expect to become more valuable. The more you chase her attention, the more you teach her that your time has no cost. A man who is missed is a man whose life feels full without her. Not cold, not distant, grounded, purpose-driven, emotionally self-contained. His absence doesn't feel like punishment. It feels like loss of access to something rare. If she senses that your emotional state rises and falls based on her response, her attraction shuts down. If she senses that you are okay whether she chooses you or not, curiosity wakes up. And curiosity is the beginning of missing someone. This isn't about manipulation. It's about self-respect creating emotional gravity. The shift begins when you stop trying to be unforgettable and start being unavailable to anything that doesn't value you. And before we go deeper, ask yourself this honestly. When she pulls away, do you pull yourself together or do you chase harder? Most men completely misunderstand what women actually miss. They think it's their attention, their compliments, or the little favors they do. Wrong. What a woman misses is emotional contrast. Moments that make her feel alive, confused, or intrigued. It's the way your presence once stirred her mind, not how many times you checked in or agreed with her. And if you've been over-available, over-explaining, or over-pleasing, you've quietly erased every chance of her missing you at all. Here's the key. Women are wired to notice patterns. They subconsciously catalog emotional highs and lows, curiosity spikes, and moments of unpredictability. If every interaction with you is predictable, she stops registering you as someone worth thinking about. And predictability is the death of desire. The most powerful way to make her miss you isn't to text more or chase harder. It's to disappear from the patterns she's learned to ignore. But disappearance alone isn't enough. You have to replace it with presence in your own life. A man who is truly missed is never idle. He's not staring at her social media, crafting messages she might respond to, or replaying old conversations in his mind. He's building momentum in his own world, chasing goals, cultivating passions, deepening friendships, living as if she's already gone. And paradoxically, this absence, fueled by your self-contained life, triggers a magnetic pull she cannot consciously control. Let's get psychological for a moment. When she notices your absence, her brain experiences cognitive dissonance. She remembers your impact, but can't reconcile it with your disappearance. She starts analyzing moments you were together, wondering why you pulled back, replaying snippets of your conversations. Her emotions start to shift. Your absence begins to feel like a presence she can't shake, and suddenly she's missing you without realizing why. Now, there's a trap here. Too much silence can feel like disinterest, and too little impact can go unnoticed. You have to calibrate your absence with a subtle reminder of your value, not texts begging for attention, not social media posts aimed to impress. Subtlety. A fleeting presence that hints you're living a rich, engaging life. A glimpse of a man whose time is precious and whose energy cannot be assumed. That's what ignites longing. Most men fail at this because they confuse absence with punishment. They go cold, then panic. They withdraw, then check in obsessively. That's not absence, that's emotional inconsistency, and it repels rather than attracts. Women are not just missing people, they miss what makes them feel something they can't replicate anywhere else. They miss contrast, curiosity, challenge, unpredictability, and moments that disrupt their emotional equilibrium. So stop trying to make her miss you through effort. Start making her miss you through self-containment. Live with intensity, pursue your ambitions, cultivate depth, and allow her mind the space to wander. Let her experience your absence as a gap she cannot fill herself. When done correctly, the emotional pull will begin long before she even realizes she's missing you. Here's what I want you to reflect on. In the past week, did your actions create emotional impact or emotional convenience? Be brutally honest. The difference between being forgotten and being missed is hidden in that answer. Making a woman miss you isn't about games or mind tricks. It's about understanding the hidden laws of female attraction, and most men never learn them. She doesn't miss your presence because it's constant. She misses your absence when it creates tension, curiosity, and emotional reflection. And the reason this works is deeply rooted in how women process attachment. Here's the truth most men avoid. Women don't attach to safety. They attach to challenge, contrast, and intrigue. Safety alone is boring. Comfort alone is forgettable. A woman only misses a man when his life moves independently of hers, when his emotional state isn't dictated by her responses, and when his absence forces her to confront the impact he had without realizing it. You see, missing someone is not about nostalgia. It's about noticing a void that triggers desire. Let me break it down. Every time you overtext, over-apologize, or over-invest emotionally, you train her nervous system to expect you at a constant baseline. And here's the cruel part. The brain starts filtering you out. She sees you, interacts with you, but her mind stops cataloging those moments as memorable. She stops missing you because your energy becomes neutral. Predictability kills emotional memory. And emotional memory is what drives longing. The power move? Become unpredictable, but in ways that are authentic, not manipulative. Take risks in your life. Say yes to opportunities she doesn't know about. Pursue your passions fiercely. Expand your social, professional, or creative world. Each step you take away from her orbit doesn't weaken your presence, it magnifies it. She notices the subtle shifts. She begins to wonder what you're doing. She starts reflecting on your absence, asking herself questions she won't voice aloud, and that reflection, my friend, is the spark that ignites missing. There's another layer few men understand. Emotional contrast matters more than attention. If you've ever noticed her reacting strongly to brief, intense moments of connection, it's because your presence once created a spike in her emotional pattern. Those spikes become anchors, and when you step away, she mentally returns to those spikes, comparing them to the flatness of her current interactions. The more significant the contrast, the stronger the pull. But you must guard against impatience. Men often misinterpret early signs of curiosity as permission to chase. Wrong. Every check-in, every attempt to explain yourself, every small act of reassurance diminishes the magnetic tension you've created. Absence has power only when it's combined with self-respect and internal focus. Your goal isn't to be missed superficially, It's to become irreplaceable in her emotional memory. Let's be clear, this isn't cruelty, it's psychology. It's the art of being emotionally impactful without bending your identity around her whims. The moment she feels a real shift, that your world exists fully with or without her, is the moment she starts missing you in a way that makes her reflect, question, and desire. Ask yourself, are your daily actions creating emotional spikes, or are you blending into the background? This distinction will define whether she forgets you or feels your absence like a shadow she can't shake. Most men sabotage their chances of being missed because they misunderstand timing. They believe the more they invest now, the more she'll miss them later. But the female mind doesn't work on linear logic. It responds to emotional patterns, tension, and the subtle art of contrast. Too much effort too soon creates emotional saturation. She stops noticing you. She stops thinking about you. She stops missing you. Here's the core principle. Absence must be intentional, measured, and emotionally weighted. It's not ignoring her completely. It's not punishing her. It's stepping into your own life in a way that creates a void she subconsciously feels. And that void is magnetic. Because when a woman experiences a gap in emotional stimulation, her brain searches for the cause. That search ignites reflection, longing, and eventually desire. Now let's talk about the moments that matter. Every interaction you have with her should leave a subtle mark, something she remembers without realizing why. A fleeting joke that made her heart lift, a confident decision you made that caught her attention, an unexpected action that showed independence. These moments become emotional anchors. When you step away after creating these anchors, she revisits them in her mind. And revisiting those anchors creates longing. But be careful. Emotional spikes without stability can backfire. If your interactions are intense but inconsistent, she may label you as unpredictable in a negative sense, untrustworthy or unreliable. The key is controlled intensity. Leave her curious but never suspicious. Make her reflect on your absence but never doubt your authenticity. A man who is missed strikes a balance between intrigue and groundedness. His world moves forward, whether she's watching or not. Another secret most men overlook is the role of scarcity in emotional memory. The more rare your attention becomes, the more valuable it is. Women do not naturally miss things they can access freely. But if you create a subtle distance while maintaining your personal momentum, your presence becomes rare, and rarity triggers longing. She begins to notice what she's lost before she even consciously realizes she wants it. This is why self-containment is non-negotiable. Every ambition, goal, or personal growth step you take amplifies your magnetic pull. A woman misses a man whose life has weight, purpose, and motion independent of her. She misses someone whose absence forces introspection. She misses emotional impact, not emotional convenience, and that, my friend, is where real power lies. Stop chasing attention. Stop trying to earn feelings. Focus instead on creating moments that matter, living a life that's compelling, and allowing your absence to create reflection. The women who notice your withdrawal first are the ones who will eventually crave your presence, and not just casually, but deeply, emotionally, in a way that lingers. Ask yourself, when you step back, do you feel fear or freedom? That feeling will dictate whether she begins to miss you, or whether your absence goes unnoticed. Most men never realize how much their emotions betray them. You think she's missing you, but in reality, she only notices the anxiety in your absence. That energy of desperation, of overthinking, of chasing approval is louder than your words or actions. Women are wired to detect it instantly. They don't miss a man who begs for attention. They miss a man whose absence challenges them emotionally, whose presence once created a spark they can't replicate. Here's what most men get wrong. They assume missing someone is about longing or regret. It's not. Missing someone is about contrast, between what she feels with you and what she feels without you. When she feels neutral in your presence, your absence is forgettable. When she feels elevated, intrigued, or even slightly unsettled in your presence, your absence becomes a void she can't ignore. That void is where desire brews. Think about the last time someone genuinely made you miss them. It wasn't because they were constantly available or pleasing. It was because they were memorable. They left an imprint in your emotional pattern, a flicker that lingers even when they're gone. That same principle applies to women, but most men never tap into it. They confuse attention with impact. They confuse availability with attraction. And that's why so many women move on without ever looking back. The truth is this: a woman misses a man who has his own life, not one who makes her his life. She misses a man who is emotionally self-contained, whose confidence isn't contingent on her approval, whose world moves forward regardless of her choices. When you cultivate that independence, your absence doesn't feel like punishment, it feels like loss. And loss is a powerful motivator of reflection, longing, and ultimately desire. There's a subtle psychological layer you need to understand. Women internalize the tension created by your absence. They replay interactions in their minds. They question their own feelings. They feel the emotional void you leave. And that void, if you've built it carefully with authenticity and purpose, grows into a magnetic pull that no amount of chasing can create. Ironically, the less you chase, the more she will think about you, and the more she will wish she had held on to the moments you created, but you must resist the urge to overcompensate. Don't flood her inbox to remind her of you. Don't apologize for withdrawing. Don't try to explain your absence. Every step toward her when she's beginning to feel your absence weakens the effect. Women miss men who are confident in their own trajectory, not men who bend for attention. Your goal is subtlety, not spectacle. Here's the bottom line. If she's not interested right now, your mission is not to force desire. It's to create conditions where desire emerges naturally. Create impact, build emotional contrast, live with purpose, withdraw strategically. And when she notices the absence of your energy, presence, and influence, she begins to miss you truly, deeply, unconsciously. Ask yourself this: in the past month, did your actions create memory or monotony? The answer is the difference between being forgotten and being missed. The final piece most men overlook is understanding timing and emotional resonance. You've learned absence creates curiosity. You've learned contrast ignites reflection. You've learned impact beats attention. But all of that collapses if you don't respect the rhythm of emotional imprinting. A woman doesn't miss a man instantly. Missing grows slowly, like a shadow stretching across her mind. She feels it in quiet moments, when your absence sparks memories she can't place, questions she won't voice, and a longing she tries to ignore. Here's the truth most men avoid. The more a man chases, the faster he erases himself from her memory. The more he bends, the less she reflects. The more he over-explains, the more neutral he becomes. Real attraction, real missing, emerges when your life has weight, your energy has motion, and your presence is rare. Every text she didn't expect, every conversation that challenged her mind, every moment she experienced your focus and confidence, these become anchors. Step away from them, and her mind naturally returns to the impact you left behind. But understand this: absence alone isn't enough. You need emotional resonance. That's the subtle spark she remembers even when you're gone. It's the way you made her feel curious, intrigued, unsettled, or alive. It's the intensity of your presence compressed into fleeting moments. And when that energy disappears, her subconscious searches for it, trying to relive it, trying to reclaim it, and that's when longing turns into missing. The danger most men face is impatience. They see a gap, assume it's permanent, and rush to fill it. They mistake silence for defeat. They mistake distance for rejection. But the reality is, absence is a tool, not a punishment. Your emotional gravity grows while you live your life fully, unapologetically, and with purpose. She may not notice immediately, but she will feel it. She will wonder. she will reflect. And in that reflection, she begins to miss the man who moves independently of her approval. Now, let me give you a final insight most men never hear. Being missed isn't about forcing desire. It's about creating an environment where she can't help but notice the space you leave behind. It's about impact over attention, mystery over familiarity, confidence over neediness. It's about living a life so compelling and self-contained that your absence doesn't feel like punishment. It feels like the loss of something rare and powerful. And here's the challenge for you. I want you to think of the